Hello and a very warm welcome to the Internet of Things Made Simple. I'm Larry Bohemer. This is the 7th episode in our COVID series, and I thank you for joining us. We had a huge spike in downloads over the last few days, especially our episode on how IoT is helping the medical community battle COVID. In this episode, we'll stick to the medical community, but to a much different area, the area of community living, often referred to as nursing or long-term care facilities. Before I get started, I wanted to state I have a ton of respect for people who work in this space. My mom was a longtime nurse, and much of her career was spent looking after those who needed full-time care. What they're doing is incredible work, especially in this time of crisis. Having said that, I don't think it's out of line to say that people are not lining up at the door to get a space in one of these facilities after the tragic losses that have occurred over the last few weeks. It's fair to say that more people than ever before want to stay in their homes as long as possible. This episode hopes to focus just on that. How can we safely keep those who may need extra help in their homes longer, while doing so safely and affordably? It probably won't surprise you to hear that IoT can help out with this. When we come back, we will answer an important technology question. I did a short video a while back. It was also a podcast that we did in our preview series. You can find the video on YouTube in the Novatech Knows section. It's where we answer the question of whether you should buy an Apple Watch 4 for Grandma. It also applied to others like Grandpa. The thinking was that there was a lot of great features on this device that help to alert to situations, as well as to provide historical trends to know what someone's up to and how they're doing. First, before I get criticized, because I know Apple's got a lot of people that don't love them, it doesn't have to be an Apple product. It can also be any other product that covers these features, so if you have another one, knock yourself out. I only mentioned Apple because it provided some great alerts. One of those alerts I was talking about was being able to see changes in resting heart rates. That's good during normal times that not involving COVID, as it can tell the state of someone's heart health. However, specifically here I'm talking more about how changes in resting heart rate may indicate that someone is currently fighting an illness, which may be an early indicator of COVID or the flu or a cold. Apple's device went further as it started to branch into the area of EKGs, which may indicate an issue with someone's heart rhythms. Again, always a good thing at any time, but some people have issues with their heart when suffering from COVID. It takes on an extra bit of importance now in that case. While I'm not sure how effective it may be, many of the latest wearables have an embedded pulse oximeter. A month ago, no one outside of the medical community had any idea what pulse ox was. Now it's all the rage. Just try buying a pulse oximeter on Amazon. This is how it records the level of oxygen in your body. The one they have in the hospital is a little more advanced. It clips onto your finger. In this case, they're using the wrist, so it's not perfect, but at least it gives you an indication. One of the things doctors treating the virus have noticed is the level of oxygen becomes dramatically low in your body, often to a level that they were surprised the person was still conscious. Alerts based on a low pulse ox reading are great to keep an eye on loved one's health. The other great advance for this product was the integration of some of the advanced accelerometers combined with advanced software. Alerts can now be sent if a fall has occurred, as well as for a prolonged period of no motion during normal hours. I guess they account for a nap somehow, because I can imagine Grandpa doesn't want to get waken up to the sound of paramedics kicking his door down. In the next section, we'll talk about how to keep an eye on those who might need just a bit more attention than that. The devices that we referred to in the previous point often have embedded GPS inside of them, or in some cases, they borrow the GPS readings and functionality from a phone. If somebody is using them to track their own walks and runs, that's an ideal feature. However, for some loved ones, the idea is not for them to track their own movements, but rather for you to track their movements. Try saying that fast. Here I'm talking about those who may have a tendency to get lost or get confused. Whether it's from a disorder like autism, a progressive disease like dementia, or somebody who simply loses track of time very often, specialized GPS-enabled devices can often be an ideal fit. These devices are designed with the idea of letting you know when something is not right. Perhaps your loved one has no issues going to the mailbox or to a neighbor's house, but gets confused taking buses. You can set up alerts to let you know when they have left a particular area. The other issue may be that your loved one tends to become scared in certain situations and needs some comfort. Some devices allow you to be alerted when they have an accelerated heart rate, as an example. The other thought is, what do you do with this alert? And that's where these devices tend to shine. Knowing your loved one is not where they're supposed to be is great, but how do you keep them safe and get them back home again? These devices often allow you to place a voice call to it and have it auto-answer. This way they can hear your voice, which is often a calming influence and may just be enough to get them back to safety. Up next, we talk about how a technology that was pioneered for submarines lets you know if mom is not down for her morning breakfast on time. There's a very fine line between being observant and being intrusive. There's an easy way to know exactly what your parents or loved ones are up to. Just blanket their house with microphones and video cameras. No problem, right? However, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that that wouldn't be the preference of mom and dad. And it may not even be your preference if you accidentally find out that dad likes to risk it while cooking bacon naked. That didn't happen to me, by the way, but just pointing that out. No one wants to have somebody play Big Brother, but how do you find out if something's about to happen at the early stages? This is where sonar and infrared solutions, combined with artificial intelligence, come into play. These solutions won't know exactly what a stove is, but they can see that there is heat coming from a certain area. With AI, it starts to learn patterns. It will notice that this heat source comes on at 8 a.m. pretty much every day. And once it learns its patterns, it can send you an alert if dad is not down by 10 a.m. to make his oatmeal. However, it won't let you know, thankfully, the level of attire that dad is wearing. It also can alert when something is unusual. There shouldn't be a heat source, in this case a human, lying in the hallway for 20 to 30 minutes, unless dad really enjoys taking naps in weird places. So it can send an alert that may indicate that someone has fallen and is unable to get up. It can also do the same if a door was left open in the winter, letting in cold air, or if a fire is happening. In the next segment, we will look at how IoT is helping to ensure your loved one is taking their medication. Take this one before dinner with water. Take this one after dinner without water. Take this one while you sing Uptown Funk while doing jumping jacks. There are so many variables to medication, I can see how people get confused. The first way that IoT helps here is either automated pill boxes or blister packs, depending on what you have. An alert is sent to the person to remind them which pill to take, and if they fail to do so, an alert can be sent to a loved one to remind them as well. Similarly, if a person tries to take pills too early, the pill container simply will not open. The other part is taking too many pills from bottles. Smart pill tops can alert to when they are open, but a more exciting method is how smart bottles can tell you how many pills are left. They can trigger an automatic renewal, ensuring your loved one does not run out of medication. These are all very helpful because, as we found out, failure to take medication properly is a huge reason why people end up in the hospital. In the fifth segment, we will cover how IoT is preventing you from hearing the smoke alarm go off. I've covered many smart in-home IoT products in previous podcasts, including products from Ring and Ecobee. You can also add Nest into this mix. While these products are not aimed at the senior market exclusively, they have a lot of upside to helping them manage their home. On the outside of the home, automated sprinklers and lawnmowers can help to keep the home looking great, while ice sensors let them know if it's slippery on the porch before they go outside. Moving inside of the home, it's all about safety and saving money. Smart sensors and alarms allow both the resident and potentially their family to be notified if a smoke or carbon monoxide alarm goes off, but they also allow the resident to not sound the alarm if they're just burning toast. You can simply say, "I'm cooking," and it will turn off the alarm before it goes off. By keeping the thermostat set at a certain setting, these systems can reduce heating and cooling costs, which is great for many seniors who are often on reduced incomes. In our final segment, we will cover in-home healthcare. You can do absolutely everything right and use all kinds of technology, but at some point, seniors will need medical care. The trick here is to get them home from any hospital stay sooner and to find ways to increase the effectiveness of in-home care to keep them there. In-home monitoring systems are now being used by medical communities to get people home perhaps a couple days earlier than they normally would from a hospital stay. This allows for monitoring that can alert a mobile professional to visit or to automatically call 911. They usually work on cellular connectivity, as many people who are elderly don't have complete blanketed Wi-Fi hotspots like the rest of us have. I guess they don't have kids obsessed with YouTube. For some, they may require a recurring visit from a healthcare professional or an aide. For both the resident and their healthcare system, this is much cheaper than being in some kind of a home. IoT helps to automate many of the processes involved in home healthcare. This can reduce the clerical cost, allow for better interaction with family members who can now see the status of visits online, and often help to reduce language issues with many of the staff who may perform the duties not having English as their first language. When we come back, we'll wrap this up. Again, I wanted to reiterate my thanks to the frontline workers in these homes for their ongoing work, especially during this crisis. There will always be a need for homes for those who are simply unable to look after themselves. However, there are many seniors and those with disabilities who may in fact be able to stay in their own homes longer if they had the right help. IoT is definitely here to offer such help. Thanks again for listening. I have an ebook on our webpage that goes into much more detail on how IoT is helping to improve healthcare, not just for seniors, but in general. You can find it, as well as a ton of other great material, on our webpage, the Internet of Things Made Simple.com. If you have any ideas for a future show, we'd love to hear from you. The best place to start is our Facebook page, surprisingly called the Internet of Things Made Simple. You can also reach out to me personally if we're connected. Stay safe and talk soon.